Greetings and welcome to my channel. Hope everyone's doing fine and you are ready for some more scares. Before we start, please hit subscribe button and like the video. Thank you and enjoy. My walk down the driveway. So this is my first time posting, mainly because I haven't had an experience worth writing about it until today. To begin, I live in a small town in Tennessee and I live far back in the woods on the top of a mountain. I have some neighbors though, but not walking distance away. Across my driveway is a road that leads to TVA that is usually pretty busy this time of year, but with whole coronavirus business no one had really been around. Anyway, around 2 weeks or so ago I noticed a car on the road pull off to the side of the road, abandoned. I didn't really think anything of it first. I just thought it was pretty weird spot for someone to leave their car, but other than that I didn't think twice about it. Today, however, was different. I was on my usual morning walk down my driveway, which is about half a mile long, and I normally don't walk all the way down because I don't want to get too close to the road and run into any creeps. I should note that I am 20 years old female, only 5'7" and around 120 pounds, and I have asthma. Today I decided to walk all the way to the mailbox and grab the mail, for a little extra time outside since I have been camped inside for a week or so. I wish I hadn't. It was a pretty normal walk at first. I was jogging most of the way, and when I stopped to catch my breath and continue walking the rest of the way, I noticed a car still sitting across my driveway, and I also noticed something moving next to it. I stopped to try to see what was it, but I couldn't see very well since it was pretty far away and could only look through openings in the trees. So I continued down, and when I go to my mailbox I noticed a man just standing next to the car. I figured it was the owner of the car and didn't think much of it until I noticed he wasn't doing anything, just staring right at me. I froze for a second and did a small wave with my fingers and forced a fake smile out, in hopes he would wave back and continue whatever he was doing, but he just stared. At this point I was really freaked out, and as soon as I turned my back to him I heard the sound of feet stepping on the leaves behind me, so I started to run back up my driveway. As I was running I could hear shuffling in the bushes behind me and what sounded like footsteps just a few feet behind me. I didn't know what to do other than run. I had my phone on me, sure, but no one would be able to make it to me in time. But I knew my dogs and my boyfriend were just up the driveway in my house, so if I could just outrun this guy, I would be safe. I continued to hear the footsteps until about halfway up my driveway, and then they just stopped. I stopped behind a tree to catch my breath and looked through a clearing in the trees to see the man turned around, tiptoeing back to the car. I am still pretty freaked out by the whole thing, and since this just happened today, I have not seen the man again. I plan to do my usual walk still tomorrow, but will bring my boyfriend with me this time. Hopefully this was just a misunderstanding, although I didn't think it was. The night in the forest. So I used to hear tons of stories about ghosts and also watch a lot of horror movies. But since I never had experienced any ghost encounters, I was a guy like, meh, these ghost stuff are created by humans themselves to make money making movies about it and all other series featuring ghost hunters. Okay, let's go to the story. One day me and my two friends visited this spooky forest. Not nearby, but we managed to get there just to check it out as we love the nature atmosphere. You know, giving my lungs some adrenaline of fresh air. The time we reached there was about 7 p.m, when it was already getting dark, and just to let you know, there's no light sources in the forest except the entrance-exit of the forest area, so it was much darker than we expected. My friend has his Apple and I had my tab with dual flash, so we decided to use them to at least see each other. An hour passed by having conversation and smoking cigarettes. We were sitting under the tree as it was thick enough for all of us to lay our backs on it and sit relax. We were having a good time until we started hearing a sound. like two rocks are smashing into each other, or one rock smashing on the ground again and again. We were pretty confused. I told my friends that it must be a cat trying to climb a tree, making the weak branches fall off, making it sound like the rock thing. But it didn't stop for like 3 or 4 minutes though. Now, after some minutes, it stopped for a while, and we were still assuming it was an animal doing these sounds. Things went silent for 5 minutes. We started our conversation about the forest atmosphere being so windy and cold. Then apparently a rock fell on my friend's head. Wonder how a rock can be up there on a tree. Just in 4 or 5 seconds a big branch from the tree fell on my lap, scaring the shit out of me, and once again my friend felt like water drops falling on his neck from up the tree. How is there still a chance of water dropping down from a tree when the rain season was already over 2 months ago? This night was clearly not our lucky night, as we heard the same sound of the rock smashing again, but now it sounds like it's getting closer. Immediately, without any options to choose, we decided to run out from the forest as quick as we could. We left the forest safe and sound and headed to our homes. After a few days of incident, one of our friends posted a news about the same forest. There was a huge tower just like a lighthouse, as said by the post. We saw that tower from a distance, but didn't get closer as it was rocky area and there is a chance if one of us falls off the small cliff. So in the post, a boy was passing by the tower and the first thing he saw was a person, but only his head. The post also said the police couldn't find the body, but just the head of the man, which was already found by the person who saw it while passing by. But the question is, what happened to this guy? How in the world can this even happen to someone? It can be the drug addicts who made this forest to get high with the brown sugar, or this guy is a drug addict getting his head torn off by someone. And the weird experience we had few days ago in the same forest, was this the same guy doing it after that? My questions are yet to be answered, and I never visited that forest again, and so didn't anyone else. The doll in the storage room. When I was younger, I'd go visit my grandparents all the time. They lived in one-floor house with an unfinished basement. I never liked it down there. It felt so small for a big basement. There was a little door down there that was for storage, and I always got a horrible feeling when going close to it. And let me add that this was a newer house that was about 6 years. Now, during the time I was 6 or 7, I felt so uncomfortable going down there. Even when I was with someone, I didn't like it. I remember going down there with my grandmother to help her with something. She had to run upstairs because someone rang the doorbell. She said she would be right back, even though she knew how I felt about being alone down there. But I nodded and said, okay. She was gone and I was alone, and I started to get a bad feeling in the pit of my stomach. I didn't move and I didn't want to, even though the lights were on. Now this is where things started happening, and it still gives me the chills. The lights started to flicker and I started to hear noises. What sounded like talking, and it was not coming from the upstairs, but from the storage room. I heard someone say my name. Here is the part that freaks me out the most. The voice sounded like my grandma. I was confused as hell. How am I hearing her when she's upstairs? I don't want to move, but me being the curious one I am, I start moving towards the storage room door. The closer I got, worse the bad feeling came. When I got to the door, the lights turned off in the basement. I wanted to run upstairs and hide, go home, somewhere that wasn't that basement. I heard my name again for the second time, my grandmother's voice asking me to open the door to help her, so I did, and I regret it. I couldn't see anything, it was pitch black. I couldn't hear anything but faint laughing that felt like forever. But then the laughing stopped and the lights turned back on in the basement, and I felt a little bit better with the lights back on. But the downside, I could see a little in the storage room. I saw a small clown doll in the storage room, and my grandmother hates clowns with a passion and wants nothing to do with them. So why is there a clown doll? I have no damn idea. Then the lights turned on in the storage room. I saw red that looked like blood all over the place. I screamed and blacked out, and the next thing I knew I was lying on the couch, my grandmother looking at me and asking if I'm okay. I have no idea if this was real or a dream, but it sure as hell felt real. If you have any ideas, please let me know. Thank you guys for stopping by. Hope you had some good scares listening to these stories. Before you leave, subscribe and hit the like button. If you have any stories or ideas you'd like to submit, my email is in the description box. Stay safe and I'll see you soon.